The red Ferrari sat in the center of the showroom like a trophy, shining under white fluorescent lights. Preston Hale leaned against a marble counter, his voice carrying across the room. "3 mechanics failed me already," he boasted. "I'll give this car to anyone who can make it run, if they dare try." The men around him laughed, their laughter echoing against the glass walls. From the corner, Elijah Brooks stepped forward, quiet, steady, his coveralls marked with oil stains. Preston smirked. You think you can handle this beauty?" Elijah didn't answer. He only wiped his hands with a worn red cloth, eyes fixed on the engine. Preston grinned wider. "Tell you what, fix it and it's yours. Though I doubt you even know where to start." The laughter grew louder, bouncing off chrome and tile. Elijah didn't flinch. He crouched, turned the key once, the silence stretched, and then the Ferrari came alive. The engine didn't just start. It sang. But when Elijah lifted the hood, what he revealed made every man in that room go silent. A few hours earlier, Elijah's hands were busy inside his small-town repair shop, a place that smelled of old oil, rubber and coffee that had been reheated one too many times. The radio hummed soft blues, the kind his father used to play while fixing planes back in the day. His shop wasn't fancy, but his customers trusted him. Farmers, veterans, truckers, folks who knew his word was worth more than gold. He didn't talk much about his past, about the years designing military-grade engines for a defense contractor before layoffs took everything away. He just rebuilt, quietly. So when a call came from Hale Automotive Estate asking for a mechanic who can handle something tricky, Elijah didn't hesitate. He packed his tools, wiped his red rag clean, and drove out. When he arrived, the marble floors and glass walls felt like another world. 2 workers looked him up and down, one whispering, "He doesn't belong here." Preston Hale strutted across the garage like a man who owned more than cars. He owned attention. "This beauty," he said, patting the Ferrari's hood, "is worth more than your entire shop." Elijah only smiled faintly, lowering his eyes to the car. "Machines don't care who owns them, sir. Only who understands them," Preston scoffed. "Just don't break it, genius." Elijah didn't answer. He laid his hand gently on the hood, his fingertips tracing a faint engraving only he could see. But when Elijah touched the engine, his expression changed, not from confusion, but recognition. Preston leaned against the wall, sipping champagne, while his friends circled like vultures around Elijah. "Maybe he's Googling the problem in his head," one joked. Laughter echoed, bouncing off the high ceilings. Elijah didn't look up. He removed his gloves slowly, set them on the spotless floor, and ran his fingers across the Ferrari's engine block. His voice was calm, almost reverent. "Custom Italian build, with American wiring," Preston chuckled. "You're wasting your time, my friend. 10 experts tried before you. She's hopeless." But Elijah didn't answer. His hands moved with precision, not guessing, but remembering. He loosened a small panel, revealing a narrow cavity that no manual mentioned. "What's he even looking for?" Another man scoffed. Elijah reached deeper, finding a tiny disconnected relay, hidden where only a builder would know to look. He held it up, his thumb brushing away a layer of dust. "You can't force perfection," he murmured. He straightened, eyes scanning the room. "A wrench, please." No one moved. Preston smirked, clinking his glass. "Give the man his toy." A mechanic handed him one reluctantly. Elijah bent back down, humming softly, the same blues tune from his father's garage. Each note seemed to slow the air itself. The laughter faded into silence. Preston's grin faltered as Elijah tightened the last bolt, stood, and wiped his hands clean. "Try now," Elijah said quietly. Preston sighed dramatically and turned the key. The Ferrari roared to life, smooth, flawless, alive. The room filled with the sound of raw power vibrating through the marble floor. Gasps replaced laughter. Preston's glass slipped from his hand and shattered. Elijah smiled faintly, eyes on the engine. "Every machine remembers who built it. What would you do if you were there? Laugh at the mechanic or shake his hand?" Preston's laughter died instantly when Elijah revealed the name engraved under the hood. The Ferrari's purr softened into a low, rhythmic hum, a heartbeat of pure precision. Elijah slowly lifted the hood, letting the golden light from above spill across polished metal. He pointed at a small engraved plate near the engine's core. E. Brooks Engineering. Preston leaned forward, blinking, unsure. "Wait, what does that—" Elijah interrupted, voice calm but steady. "It means this car? You're looking at the man who designed its engine. Built it for a defense client before they sold it overseas." The room went utterly still. The laughter, the arrogance, all dissolved into the sound of the humming motor. "You didn't buy it broken," Elijah continued softly. "You broke it, trying to make it a trophy instead of what it was meant to be, a machine built to move." Preston's glassy eyes darted toward his guests. None met his gaze. He stammered, I didn't know." Elijah's reply was gentle but sharp. "Most people don't. They just assume." He turned to leave, his red rag tucked neatly into his back pocket. But Preston called out, desperate, "Wait! The Ferrari. It's yours. I said it." Elijah paused at the door, glancing back just once. "Keep it," he said quietly. "I already have something no one here seems to—" Peace. The engine purred behind him like applause only he could hear. "Share this if you still believe respect should never depend on someone's clothes or title." But before Elijah walked away, he left Preston with one final lesson, written on the hood. Before leaving the estate that night, Elijah reached into his pocket, pulled out a black marker and bent over the open hood. With slow, deliberate strokes, he wrote across the silver engine cover, "Built by hands that remember hard days." Then he closed the hood, nodded once, and walked into the night. Months later, the same sleek Ferrari rolled up to Elijah's modest workshop. But this time, Preston wasn't the same man. No champagne, no crowd. Just him and his young son sitting in the passenger seat, holding a small, broken go-kart engine. Preston hesitated at the door before stepping inside. The smell of oil and metal hit him, raw, human, real. Elijah looked up, surprised, wiping his hands on his red rag. "My boy wanted to see how real mechanics work," Preston said quietly. "He broke this trying to make it faster." Elijah smiled faintly. "Then he's already learning." He knelt beside the boy, guiding his small hands over the bolts and gears. "Don't rush it," Elijah said softly. "Machines listen better when you're patient." Preston stood in silence, watching the two work. The room was filled not with noise, but with rhythm. The soft clink of tools, the hum of the fan, the same blues tune Elijah always played. When they finished, the go-kart sputtered, then roared to life. The boy laughed, eyes wide. Preston nodded, emotion caught in his throat. He placed an envelope on the counter before leaving. No words, just a label. "For your next apprentice." Elijah stood by the door, grease on his hands, peace on his face. The walls around him told his story. Framed photos of engines, his father's smile, and a small plaque that read, "Skill is silent. Pride is noisy." As the sound of the Ferrari faded down the road, Elijah hummed again, the same tune that began it all. Subscribe for more stories where quiet strength turns humiliation into honor. What if the hands you mock today are the ones that built the world you live in?